Excited to be here with Suzanne Castle.
I'm excited to be here. Oh my gosh, thanks for having me.
I love this. I absolutely love this. And the fact that we're doing this, just trying to just toss some value out there and just get to know each other and just all the amazing things. So I like to start out by just speaking into this a little bit. This is not like one of those informational webinar seminar things where you have to like have paper and notes, although you may want some for the achievement nuggets, because they always jump out there. But just, I want to encourage you to just sit back, relax a little bit, enjoy. We're going to be on here for a little while, and just take it in, just absorb it. If you happen to be on live, I'll check the comments. If you have any questions, I want to encourage you to engage. Go ahead and smash some likes and loves and hit those BOLs when you get a breakthrough out loud, and
that's right.
Honor that you are not alone. Whatever it is that you're feeling like, just go ahead and pop it in the comments there. I want to encourage you to do that and just sit back, and we'll go through a couple of questions, but really we're chilling and getting to know each other and just see what synergy is created. So Suzanne, so tell us, I am honored to have you here. I love talking to you every time. You bring something to the table that is not natural to me. And so this is very exciting. I mean, I lean into it and I work with it, but it is definitely not one of my genius zones. It's not one of my superpowers, not by far, but I work at it. And so I love having you on here, bring something different to the table. What is that thing? Will you tell me?
So I talk a lot about the sparkle factor. So that's kind of my bailiwick, let's say. And I mostly deal with creatives. So people that are stuck in some kind of creative processing. A lot of times it's nonprofits. Even groups like Target will come to me and have them kind of walk through how to break some kind of ceiling that they're currently on in a project or an idea. And hopefully I bring kind of an artistic sensibility that makes them color or get up and dance or maybe do karaoke literally in the middle of a meeting, and see if we can help everybody come to some kind of differentness about how they've been thinking, what they've been thinking. So I think that's why I'm here. Is that maybe why I'm here? I don't know.
No, that's a powerful question. Why are you here? That's very, very metaphysical. I love it. That's right up my alley.
There you go. Exactly. That's you. I just show up, I just show up.
And you just shared a piece of you. That's awesome. I absolutely love it. Thank you. No, you're here because you're amazing and you're truly inspirational. I have the opportunity to connect with you off and on, and I love connecting with you always, because you just bring this creativity, this excitement to the table every time we connect, and that is why you're here. But I can't answer the why you're here question. You have to do that. Although I do have a course coming up that you might be interested in.
There you go. I love promotion. Way to promote yourself.
But that's not what this is about, though. But stay tuned for that, because you'll dig it. Awesome. So I have a couple of questions. Let's start there. Well, yeah, let's start there. I want to just really jump in. And Melanie is joined us, and she said hello.
Hi,
Melanie. Gotta love Melanie. What a passionate inspirer, right?
Yes.
And it looks like Diane Dick is with us too, which is awesome. Awesome.
Hi, Diane.
I think she's still in Norway, but I think she's expected back hopefully soon, because we miss her.
Awesome.
And so I'll continue to monitor those questions. So if I'm not looking at you, I'm with you, but I want to monitor the audience as well.
No worries.
So I want to dive in like really deep and really fast. What has been your greatest achievement so far? You start with the hard questions.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about two. Sorry, you know me. I'm always going to shatter whatever you give to me. So awesome. I'm going to talk about personally and professionally, and because you're going to see why in a minute. So personally, I think my biggest achievement was getting out of an abusive marriage and reforming myself to recapture who I was before that. No. And that's an ongoing process. I am not going to lie about that, but being beyond.
What are you going to lie about?
I felt stuck by it. Well, I mean, I'm sure there are. Let's just be honest.
I'm sorry. We got to have a little fun.
Oh, good. I love it. I love it. So personally, I think that's the thing, and which launched me then into what I think is my biggest maybe professional achievement at this point, and that is to just be a voice for creativity in a lot of places where creativity has been squashed. So, I mean, you can talk about either, I mean, one of my books, or you could talk about the kind of different jobs I've had, both in the arts industry and religious industry and nonprofit industry, or you could talk about how I just like to be with people in different locations and help them kind of capture a sense of how they are a created being and therefore they are creative. But so I think for me, launching myself out of what I thought I always had to be from here on out in my marriage into who I am now is my greatest achievement. But both of those things go together.
That's awesome. So they're integrated, but both
definitely
both big steps.
Well, and I think we forget that, don't we? So we're a whole person, a whole being, and we must be integrated. And I think that's when a lot of our disconnect happens, where it might be personally or professionally. It's when somehow we haven't been integrated. So we're cutting off some part of ourselves that needs care or needs food. I mean, for me, I'm the worst when I'm hungry. I mean, like, that's the worst time to ever talk about me. Like, I made sure I shoved pineapple in my mouth right before we got on, you know? So, you know, but like and so whatever it is, when you're disconnected from your whole self, I don't think you can be anything for anybody. And so I see a lot of failures happen in business when there's just not the integrated whole. And so if let's say a CEO is having a lot of emotional distress going on, usually you can track what's happening in a business because of that. And so how do then we recapture that? How do we help that like just live and be for a while? And how do we come together as a community? That's really what I'm focused on in my work, is kind of the greater sense of humanity together. And so
you say the greater sense of humanity together.
Yeah.
Wow. Somebody type that in for me, please. Wow. We're dropping achiever bombs already.
We're trying.
That is awesome. I mean, that is some serious stuff right there.
Well, because
exciting stuff.
I mean, think about it. If you watch the news, I mean, for longer than about 12 minutes at any point in a day,
I don't.
Right? It's so destructive to the whole, you know, about, you know, I try to remind my daughter that we're all on planet together. Really, we should all be working towards the same goal, which is how are we here together for the greater whole?
I love it.
Everybody's just about their own sandbox, right? And how much they have and how many toys they have, and their position's the best position. And I can't ascribe to that, because again, that's disconnected from who I am as a whole person. So yeah.
I love it. Wow. Look at the energy we got. And I'm not kidding. We got a number of people on. Mel's still on. Greg's on. He said, well, Mel already has a question.
Awesome.
Michael Osada, who's a phenomenal individual. I've had the opportunity to connect. He's doing lots of live interviews and stuff. What's up, Michael? Happy to have you on. Give me a second. And it looks like Ellie might be on as well.
Yay!
She's around in any case. But so we have some questions, but that's such a phenomenal topic. So I have the opportunity, I get to talk with people who are working into integration all the time. There's a lot of people that say to me, like, geez, I've been told before, like, you're the most intentional guy I've ever met. I have a little trouble receiving that, because that's such a big thing, but I guess I am an intentional guy. But that's one of the biggest things that I've found that has really enabled me to do what I get to do right now. And that is integrating everything to move toward one whole. And that's a challenging thing for people. So I get to, work with people who are doing that. So I get from my perspective, I get what you're saying. That's awesome.
Well, and I think in a variety of different settings, you and I and several other people that are on this, in this group and not maybe watching now, we talk a lot about that intersection of what you feel called to do, what you have to do to put food on the plate, right? What you want to do and what you love to do. And when we're able to kind of like live, and sometimes, let's face it, sometimes it's just the have to do's. Like, I have weeks where it's just the have to do's. There's no, like, I don't get to go hang out at Disneyland that week, or I don't get to like jump a plane to Italy.
Oh, no, Disneyland.
Right. Right. But I have to do these things. But then because I do those things, then I get to do some things I love to do. And I think we have to maybe reset our expectations around that, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who is in a certain age bracket. There's a whole lot being written about right now. I'll just leave that where it is because I don't want to be ageist on this call. But about how there seems to be a lot of not as much drive or understanding about how many hours you have to work. You have to put in your due. You have to, you have to have the sweat equity, and they come out of college and they just want 8 weeks of vacation and a 6-figure salary, blah, 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 blah. And I looked at this person, I said, well, didn't you want that? Like don't shoot them because that's what they want. Now, what they want and what they have to do to make those two things come together, that's a completely different conversation. But don't ding them because that's what they want to do. Like my hope is, okay, what do you want to do? How can I help you get there? How can we creatively figure out a way to get you there? And so,
love it.
Anyway, all right, your turn. Talk at me a little.
Oh, well, I always got stuff. That's not an issue. Let's go to Melanie because Melanie had a question, and then we'll go back to the format that I have as well. So I'm not afraid to bounce around a little bit if that's okay.
That's great. Yeah, no, perfect.
That's the best way to be. Melanie said, what is your favorite activity when a group is not responding the way you would like them to?
Oh, and that happens all the time, doesn't it? For all of us. I think, and I would say first, before I answer that question, is you have to know your group. I mean, do your homework, do your background. So like, for example, if I have a bunch of elderly people that do Tai Chi in a chair on a regular basis, I don't want to get them up and doing YMCA and karaoke, right? I mean, that wouldn't work. That's just going to make the environment even
I love
worse.
that analogy. That's awesome.
Right. I mean, like, that's a good thing to say because we're like, well, duh. But sometimes we're up there and like, well, this isn't working. Why isn't this working? Well, maybe the group isn't responding to you and your ideas. So one of the things that I like to try to do is something physical, actually, because I think sometimes it's an energy level. It may not be that they're not into you. It's a lack of energy. And whenever we have lack of breath moving through our body, our brains aren't processing like we need them to. Our heart rate is slowing down. Our blood's not going as fast as it needs to. So I like to do something physical with them. And it could be a wide variety of things. You could have everybody, shake their hands. You bunch of jazz hands, make a bunch of jazz hand jokes.
Oh, everybody's got to do that right now. Go ahead.
All right. Do this,
I love it.
One of my favorite professors, before we took a test, anytime we take a major test, like the final or anything, she would make us get up on top of our desks and she would play some random, like Aretha Franklin sometimes. And then sometimes it might be Elvis Presley. And sometimes it might be, I don't know, Journey or whatever. And our entire thing that we were supposed to do was just jam out for that length of that song. And then we would sit down at our desk and then she would start the test.
This was in high school?
This was in college, actually.
In college, okay.
And I learned a lot from that because as soon as I did that, all my fears went away. I got brain moving, I got the breath moving, and I was clear focused. So I like to talk to people and say, we're going to do something physical now. And again, that's where I say you got to know your audience, right? I'm speaking to about 4,000 youth on Friday, and we're going to do some video work. So they have to sing along to a video without actually singing out loud with their table, and they have 2 minutes to plan it before we start it.
I love that. You have so many great creative exercises. I love it.
And so, I mean, they'll know the song ahead of time, right? And so, and we're playing it, but they only have 2 minutes to figure it out as a team together. So I think these are some things maybe that can help bring some energy. And I just find energy. You need energy in the room. So that's maybe one idea. Yeah.
No, I love that. I absolutely love that. That's one of the things that I'm working through as well. So I have all this information up in my head. I'm completely transparent. I'll just throw it out there authentically. But that's one of the things that I'm moving through. And I think some people in the group already know that. But so I'm working on my speaking abilities, right? And techniques and tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff. But energy, man, the energy's got to be there. And so how do you bring it? Like, what do you do? So I love what you bring to the table. And every time you toss an idea out there, I love it. The post that you put in the group also, that kind of creative stuff is amazing. That truly helps people.
Well, and I think about your own self and how you learn. So I like even here, like maybe you guys can see me, I'm like swirling in my chair. I'm sorry. Like normally I don't sit in a chair for very long, but I like to walk around when I talk. So I don't like to talk from a podium. And even if I do a majority of my speaking from a podium, at some point I'll come down the stairs, I'll walk among the tables, I might throw glitter in the air unexpectedly or something just to get people go, oh my God, what's happening? And shock your system a little bit and whatever. And so I think thinking through your own speaking style, videoing yourself is really important, because then you'll also see how energy ebbs and flows in your own speaking. And then that helps you kind of understand the greater dynamic of a room and what that looks like.
Love it. Love it. So many good nuggets there, and audience, and just using your energy. I love it. Who inspired you growing up? That's what I want to know.
Well, gosh, there's been so many, because there's been, Tinkerbell is probably one of my biggest inspirations from Peter Pan.
Why am I not shocked by that?
She was sassy and she spoke truth into power. She wasn't afraid of Peter Pan and his magic, nor from Captain Hook. I mean, pretty amazing there. So from an early age, I would say Tinkerbell. And then I really liked Cyndi Lauper growing up.
Why does this not shock me either?
And people are going to laugh, but hear me out. See, so originally I was like, oh my God, that hair. And I really did my hair like that. I was a ballerina then. I used to be a professional ballerina. And
Nice.
So I would wear a fake bun, and most of us did. That's a little ballerina secret a lot of people don't know, so that they all look the same. So I had a shaved head.
Whoa. Not only do we get achiever nuggets, but we get ballerina nuggets too. I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it.
And so, but she just wore whatever she wanted to wear, and she was all about fun. And as I've watched her mature as a person, she's had a lot of disarray in her life, in her creative life, but she just keeps coming back. She did a whole jazz album. A lot of people don't know that. And she did a 40s album, which was unbelievable, won a whole lot of awards. I mean, she's won a Tony for her great work on Broadway, and she just keeps remaking herself. And she speaks a lot about voice, and every person has a voice, and you have a choice how to use that. And so I would say that she is still one of my major inspirations.
Love it. I absolutely love that. Awesome. And I got to ask, where does Depeche Mode fall in there?
Oh my gosh. See? Okay.
I know we share some of those
That's
favorites.
right. So Depeche Mode is my favorite band on the planet, and I will fight anybody that says otherwise.
So feisty.
I am feisty. So my brother wrote a poem about me in the 7th grade. They had to write a poem on an adjective, and he wrote a poem on feisty, and it was all about me. So good word there, Brad. I like your word usage there. But I think because of what they speak truth into, so their songs are all about money or sex or God. And if you ask them, those are the 3 things that people love and hate.
Oh my God, she said sex live in a group on Facebook.
I hope it's okay. And we all struggle with those. We all love those, but we struggle with it. And that's where I think a lot of wars happen, on those 3 things right there. And whether it be internal war or big global war. And I just think that their lyrics are smart. You don't necessarily have to like their music. I mean, you'd be dumb not to, but if you don't,
there's the feistiness.
If you don't like their music, really check out some of their lyrics. I mean, they're usually in some settings, I'll use their lyrics and not tell who they're from or anything, and just have people read it as a word piece and ask about it. And people are always super intrigued. And then I usually play the song and they're like, what? Depeche Mode? We had no idea.
Love it.
So they're amazing.
Sorry, I had to bring that up.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you worked that
in. In what do you believe? And this is, one of my questions, because my thing is brilliance, right? And I don't mean, so brilliance is so different to so many people. I don't mean this kind of brilliance, academic necessarily, although for some it is, and that's important. But brilliance to me is more something, deep inside, like that passion that people want to just draw out, because I find oftentimes there's something inside, but it's not quite out here. And those are the type of people I work with. So in what do you believe that your unique brilliance is rooted?
In what do I believe that my unique brilliance is rooted?
Yeah.
Well, I would definitely say, because I am a faith person, so I would definitely say that I am on the side of God is a very creative God, whatever that looks like for you. So I don't want to say, you have to be such and such and so and so. I don't care what you are. But I do think there's kind of a God,
because you'd see my feistiness if you did.
Right. So, but I do think there's a God-shaped hole in all of us. Okay, for whatever that looks like for you. And I think that once we start figuring out that hole and how that works together, that's when our brilliance comes out. And so, you know, for some people, the search for the meaning for life and how a faith is a part of that might very well be that. For me, it was about understanding my unique role in the world. So I'm figuring out that I am a unique creature and I'm here. I mean, with intentionality, like I'm supposed to be here in this time, in this place. And therefore, what do I get to do with my life in this time?
Yes, you are. Everything you did up to this point has brought you right here with me, right here in this group, right here at this time. No, I love it.
That's exactly right.
I love it.
And so we get sidetracked from that because things don't happen as fast as we want them to, or big hurdles come in our world, for however that looks like in your sphere. But I constantly go back to the fact that, okay, I'm here in this moment at this time. What am I doing? And what am I supposed to do? And so that's where my brilliance comes from. Long answer. Sorry, but
no, I love it. No, there's no right, wrong, up, down, left, different. This is just about you and I and what it's going to provide to the group and the synergy that's created now and in the future for the people. It's often people forget that. So we're here present, but yet who may watch this in the future and how can we impact them then as well as now? And I love leaning into that kind of stuff.
And I want to say how good that is because I don't know that enough people get that. I think we're only concerned with the tomorrow of the world and not what we're doing in this moment. I mean, this is such an easy distraction. Like, look, it wasn't even, I mean, a whole arm's length away from me. Like, and so we're not as present socially in our day-to-day interactions, but we're also we don't pay enough attention to our past either. And so what our story has been and is and will be, that they're all connected there. See, there's that word again. So
I love it. I love it. Absolutely. What advice would you give anyone looking to build or, you know, I'm the builder guy, so I use the word, but build or like step into their own uniqueness? What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, call me. That'd be the first thing.
I love it. I love it. Call me.
Just call me.
That's awesome. That's the first time I've had a response like that. I love it. It's very.
There you go. There you go. Well, I think I use
love it. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That's awesome.
I use this tool called a wheel through Enneagram, but there's also the wheel of life. I think a lot of coaches use this wheel of life and where you are on your wheel. And I love that image of circular because wheels move, right? So it's not a square that sits flat for very long, right? The wheel is going to move. So if you're in this little thing right here, it is going to move. So my question to people usually when they're trying to figure this out is, what do you want your will to be filled with? Okay. Is it more time with your family? Is it a 7-figure income? Is it, I mean, whatever it is. I mean, you know, I want to take a worldwide cruise. I mean, I don't care what it is. It could be, you know, artificial or like very meaningful, esoteric. It doesn't matter. But then you figure out how you get your wheel to constantly turn. So if you're here and then where is that in the wheel and where is it coming to? And so I would say that people have to do the work to know what they want inside their wheel. And if you can't even answer that question, then I think you can't even get to the question of how you're going to be brilliant in the world, because it starts with some internal work there.
Yep. So. Indeed, I agree with you. I love that. That's some great stuff, and I don't want to pass that by. But I love that you brought that up because there is kind of a requisite knowledge that I have to be careful my words aren't too big. So catch me because I know Jeannie's been on and off, or she's on here, so like she'll catch me. $1 in a jar every time I use a big word, and
I love big words. Use them.
I have to pay that. So
I don't. I'm going to use all the big words.
This is a long-standing joke. I don't know that it'll ever go away. So, but there is a kind of a requisite knowledge. This is something that I'm moving through as we begin to transform, as we begin to reach up, as we begin to scale up, as we begin to grow. There are some things we must know, like service. We have to know that the life is much larger than ourselves, and the people that haven't discovered that yet, Mike, I just don't tend to work very well with them yet because they have some work to do. And I want to connect with them because I'm all about connection and collaboration. I still want to connect with them, but I want to kind of gear them toward like doing the prerequisite work in order to actually get to the next step. So I love that you brought that up. I want to ask you though about the Enneagram. So I'm familiar with that, but some people that watching might not be familiar. So if you're familiar, would you speak into that for a moment?
So the Enneagram is an ancient tool, thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. So some of you do colors, right? Some of you do Myers-Briggs, right? Some of you do Myers-Briggs. Some of you do strengths finders, whatever. Well, Enneagram was there before any of it. It all came after Enneagram. So Enneagram is a wheel, and there are 9 facets to the wheel, and every person is one of the 9 is the way that it works. And when you're stressed, like so there's 9 numbers. When you're stressed, you're a different number than you are normally. And so each of the 9 pieces has characteristics about it, and none are bad, none are good, because there's good and bad in every single number. And so it's a good understanding, because when I meet somebody, let's say, like this won't mean anything to anybody unless you're an Enneagram person. I'm a 7 with a really strong 8 wing. And so when I meet a 2, you know, that's sometimes kind of not so great. Like I probably shouldn't ever in my business work alongside, like as co-staff members with a 2, because it's just probably not going to go so well. So, a 2 will ask different questions than a 7 does in a meeting. And so understanding what all those different numbers mean and how you speak into those and how you react to those. I mean, it's all super, super powerful stuff. So you can find it a lot more. You just Google Enneagram, and there's tests and there's workshops, and it's great. I love it.
I support that, by the way. Maybe we'll put a comment in or a link in the comments or something later.
I'd be happy to do that. Sure.
That's some great stuff. I love it. And I work from a variety of different tools, and I love that tool as well. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Thank you. I think that'll be of massive value to people. Andrea's on, and Melanie's still with us, and Tim Kane, he's just posting like lots of laughs and smiles. And I think that's some energy that he's posting in there. I love it. So if I happen to miss a comment or question, guys, don't even hesitate to go ahead and post it again. I'll keep monitoring. But Mel said, what makes you feel stuck? What strategy do you have to get unstuck? I love that.
I love that question too, because transparency time, I'm stuck about something every day. And I think if we were more honest with ourselves. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. Call me.
Okay. Yeah. Call you. That's good. That's good. But there's something in all of our lives every day that presents a challenge or a stuckness to us. But so when I am stuck, usually I have to get away from an environment. So I am very environmentally sensitive, and I don't want y'all to take that as I'm some frou-frou, which I probably am. But so it may mean that I have to go outside. I just need to change the scenery. I may just need to walk into a different room. And that's the first thing I would do, because I think sometimes, again, getting up and moving changes your breath, it changes your blood pressure, it changes everything. And then a different scenery will make you think of different things. So I would say first and foremost, whenever you're stuck, get moving. That's the first thing I'd say, just get moving.
Love it. Love it. When you're stuck, get moving.
Get moving.
That's going into the Achiever Nuggets, man. When you're stuck, get moving.
Get moving.
I love it.
But then I think the other thing to do is relationship build. So whenever I am stuck, I have a group of people all over, all different kinds of people. So I pull out my little list, and like Brad, I'll text Brad, hey, what are you doing?
Call me.
He knows. Oh, let's get on the phone together. Or sometimes it's my mom, or sometimes it's another creative partner. And so I think sharing your stuckiness is really, really important, because
well, I got to call this out again. Did you say share your stuckiness?
I said share your stuckiness.
I did. This is good stuff. I love it.
That's right. So share it with somebody. Share it with somebody. You know, think about Pooh Bear. Let's think about Winnie the Pooh. Okay, so
that takes me back a couple days.
Just a couple? Just a couple. So he would eat all the honey, right? There was that one scene where he eats so much honey, and then he can't get back through the opening in the tree. And so he's stuck there, right? And he's moaning and he's groaning and he's whining or whatever. And Piglet is the one that's there. And I mean, that's the magic of Pooh, is actually, I think, Piglet. So Piglet is always the wisdom nugget, right? And so Piglet offers opportunities, and this is how to get through this. And maybe you should think about this next time. And so I think awesome. That kind of sage character that Piglet is someone that you need when you're stuck. So reach out to someone, get a different perspective, talk through what's going on. Don't be afraid to say, I'm stuck. So
that is Awesome. You know what I dig about that? I got to tell you. I mean,
What's that?
and this is one of the things I absolutely love about you. You talk about things that as adults, like I'm almost 50 years old, right? So do you think, I mean, and we live in different spaces, right? We think differently, and that's the power of diversity. That's why I love diversity so much. But so I'm like serious, intentional guy, right? And then you talk about Winnie the Pooh. Like I love it. I absolutely love it. Like one time I talked to you and you made me think of like Dr. Seuss again. Like I love it. Like that. We move through life and we forget about those kinds of things. This is the creativity you bring. I absolutely love it.
Well, thanks. So I would also say then, so speaking of that,
keep speaking because I'm going to do something crazy. Something I want to show you, and but keep speaking because I'm listening.
All right, I'm going to keep speaking. So if you haven't watched any of the Toy Story movies lately, may I recommend that you put that as part of your work environment? Put it as part of your work homework. In fact, that should be a module or a unit, whatever you're calling them these days. Have a Toy Story unit. And I'd like to put in some questions there because I really think that if you are looking to go to any kind of next level, you feel stuck, you are looking for some inspiration, you're trying to look at a problem in a different framework, Toy Story movies are the movies for you. Here's why. One, they're toys. So you can manifest whatever's going on with that without getting way too personal or whatever. But they have to figure out how to work together, and they're all different, right? There's the slinky dog that can go really far, and there's the pig, right, that always has all the money, right? And there's Buzz Lightyear that can fly. I mean, blah, 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 blah. But anyway.
Oh, I love me some Buzz Lightyear. To infinity and beyond. Isn't that so like me?
That is you. Like, that is definitely your Disney character. But I think that we forget how to think about our world like that. Like from the perspective of the toys working together to make a problem get solved. And so put that as your homework over the next couple of days. Like go watch a Toy Story movie and see what it does for you and your business.
I love that. I accept that challenge. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to go really weird now and do something totally different.
Yay.
Because this is how you inspire me. So this guy right here, he's old. So this was this is crazy. This was my childhood teddy bear.
Awesome. I love
this. This was my original childhood teddy bear that my mom gave to me.
What is his name?
He doesn't have one. Is that bad? Teddy?
No. That's not
Teddy.
That's not bad.
He's just always been Teddy. Like his nose is missing. Like this guy has been well used, right? And I was looking at him the other day. I've done some crazy things with my siblings' teddy bears. I could tell stories, like some really funny stuff. But I've resurrected them when my mom sold the house and that kind of stuff. And
that's cool.
Yeah, but I'll share those stories later. But you know what that reminds me of, though? Here's what it reminds me of. And this is why I went to go get it, because you always bring creativity. When I'm stuck, when I want to move forward, a lot of times I find myself around people who are stuck. And that's what's holding me back. What I found is holding me back. And there's people who are lifeless. And that's what the teddy bear reminds me of. And sometimes you got to let those go. So I didn't let Teddy go because Teddy reminds me that sometimes in order to level up, you got to just let some of those things go. And I know it's a hard thing to do. So my answer is very different than yours, but you inspire me to just bring that out. Like that's why
I think that's great.
Teddy bear around, because sometimes we got to let that, some people call it baggage or whatever. I don't know what term, people use, but let the things go that you need to let go and move forward. Like let yourself fly and let yourself be free.
I think you touched on something which I would say is like follows like. So if you are stuck all the time and feeling like crap and having no energy, then I would look at your circle of influence and find out, is everyone else around you in that same? I mean, are you surrounded with a bunch of grumpy pants all the time who have no vision? Then I would say it's time for you to lose that circle.
I am not, but I will tell you this. I was on the phone with John earlier, which is always awesome. And he was talking about, how not to get caught in mediocrity, and wow, such powerful stuff. So it was cool. I was actually on with John Maxwell twice today at the same time, which is an amazing experience I never had. So there was a webinar going on and I didn't want to pass that up. So I know multitasking is not always the greatest thing, but I had to be on both. So I was on the phone with John. People were asking questions. I was also on a webinar with John. It's pretty amazing technology, what you can do, right?
Look at you. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, but he's in Philadelphia, and then I was with Mark Cole last week. I mean, just amazing stuff. So when you say circle of influence, I want to encourage people to level up. This is one of the
Yes.
steps that I talk about, leveling up. So I wasn't always here. In fact, it wasn't that long ago. It seems like yesterday that I was in a very different place, and I wanted to truly reach up. I knew there was an up, but I didn't know which way was up. Does that make
Exactly.
sense?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I just, but I knew I had to get there. And so I'm glad you brought that up, because that's what it's all about. If you're going to get to the next level, one of the first steps is to look at your circle of influence, let the lifeless people go, but not
Yep.
Teddy. Keep your Teddy.
Yep.
And begin to surround yourself with awesomeness like Suzanne Castle.
Oh, well, thanks. But I think we're in this group, we're all that, and we're all looking for
Agreed.
to build something better than what we currently know is our reality. And I think that's what I mean when you're stuck. You got to reach out to those kinds of people and go, okay, well, I'm looking at it from this perspective. Somebody else is going to see it different. I gotta talk to somebody about this. So
Awesome. Yeah, well, I got some awes. So Andrew was like, "Aw."
yeah, of course you did. You got the
The
odds.
serious guy brought his teddy bear out, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happens on these live things. All right. One of my favorite questions. If you were, and you can change this if you need to, change the atmosphere or the environment, but this is one thing that I always ask. If you were climbing up a mountain, whether metaphorical or physically, and you were just struggling and climbing to get to the top, you just put all your effort into it, right? And all your energy, and you finally get to the top and you're able to just see this vastness everywhere. What is one message that you would just scream out to the world that they must know?
I think I would say enjoy life more.
Would you say it that way?
Well, no, of course I would scream.
How would you say it, Suzanne? Here's why I call you out. How would you say it, Suzanne?
No, I'm in a building with a bunch of other people. I don't know that I can do that right now. But here's the thing, and I may not do it that way, because I'd probably have a glass of wine in one hand.
Nice.
Because my mountain would be a vineyard. And
Nice.
It could be on the side of a mountain, because there are those in Piedmont. I'm taking a trip there in October. And but I think I when I say enjoy life, I mean smell things more, right?
Nice.
If you're a dessert person, eat dessert more. Like, screw your doctor, eat dessert more. And I just think if we found joy.
Just for the record, I don't know. Screw your doctors may be good advice. So I just want to call that out. Just maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know.
I feel like we're in a safe space. So,
I'm looking out for everybody. Maybe for some people, maybe not for me.
Right,
but I get
right,
what you're saying. I'm teasing you.
So I just think that we rob ourselves of a lot of joy in our choices and our decisions and the way that we operate in life. And so I think that finding and living in a place of joy is the one message at the end of my life that I want to have embodied and say and share in every aspect that I can. So that's why I like this call. We're laughing a lot.
Yeah.
And I just think life's too short to not laugh and drink and eat and watch a movie. And I mean, whatever it is that brings you joy, I just think life's too short to not put those in your life. So
I love that. That's an important message. I'm glad you actually said that. I love that.
Well, and so I would challenge the people listening to this right now and say,
here comes the challenge.
How are you living a life of joy? And how then does your work speak into joy? Because I am of the mind, and I know people will disagree with me, but I'm of the mind that if you want to be successful, you need to be joyful. And so if you're not in that place, then maybe I would examine what are the joy thieves around you, and how is that manifesting in your life, and do something about that. Like, get unstuck out of joyless living. Maybe that's the first step.
Get unstuck out of joyless living.
Yes.
Wow. That's powerful. All joking aside, that's very powerful.
I don't think that we give enough attention to joy. And notice I'm not using the word happy. Yeah. I think those are different. But I think to just literally being of joy, if you think about the people that you follow, that you read, that you want to be around, that you want to soak up their goodness, right? I would venture that you would not put them in the wet sponge category.
Mhm.
You would put them in a living of joy category. And so if you're thinking about who you are in the world, I would hope that you tend towards the joy spectrum.
I love that. People are digging this. We're actually getting a lot of likes and loves on that stuff.
Well, good.
Apparently they're digging the joy. In fact, Greg had said something about note to self, befriend Piglet, I think he said,
Yes,
which was
everybody
cracking me up. Piglet was my favorite when I was growing up. But Curious George is my all-time favorite. I love, I mean, you guys know me, like Curious George. It's Curious George and to infinity and beyond.
There you go, Buzz.
How are you living a life of joy? Andrea says, how are you incorporating joy into your life?
I love that. Thank you for asking that. So
Thanks, Andrea.
It's been a journey for me. If you were on the call at the beginning, I was in a terrible marriage for 15 years and thought I couldn't get out. And so there was no joy there, and I had lost all my joy. And I think I'm a pretty fun person. And so I had lost that.
I think so too.
Thanks.
Everybody that thinks that she's a fun person, that you're getting this energy,
yes, hands.
Please smash a like, a love, do some hands, and say yes in the comments. Yes, I get it. Yes, I get it.
So I think one of the ways that I live joy every day is in my calendar schedule, because I'm that person that I have to calendar joy, right? So I literally put something
calendar in there. Joy. You put joy in your calendar.
So if it's that I'm going to color in a Scooby-Doo coloring book for 20 minutes, that's what I do. And the next day it might be that I make pasta from scratch, and because I love Italian food. Or maybe it's that I'm going to go do yoga, even though I've got 8,000 things on I've got to find something that gives me joy every single day, or I am not going to be a good person that day. And so I think that's how I have become more joyful, is intentionally doing things that give me joy. So
I love that. That's so powerful. Thank you. This is so outside. Again, I would just want to say it. I mean, I love it. This is so outside of the way I think what you bring to the table is something beautiful. It's awesome. Passion, inspire. Love it. That's
why we're all here together.
So true. So true. And that's such a challenging message to get across to people. It's what I find myself, I guess, as I don't know if people will love this or hate it, but it is what it is, right? As the high achiever network evangelist, me going out there just trying to share that message with people. It's collaboration is the key. And I say that, but I don't know that people get it as I do. I have more of a 50,000 foot view, but the more we do this thing that we're doing right now, us together and people engaging as well, and then people later also seeing it, it's amazing. People get so much from it. So
I think that's so true. And I would say if you are one of those kinds of people like, I can't do anything else, I've got so much on my calendar, because we're all there, and I get it, and everybody handles that differently. Okay. But it may be, and I don't want to take this too elementary level, but just give me some space here. So I don't like anything doing with finances. Okay. I don't like dealing with it. I'm not good at math. I am okay with that. I hire people to do that. But, every so often I have to balance a checkbook or whatever. And I have to kind of look at long term. So I hate that task beyond hate. Like, I will avoid it until the last possible second and live into my procrastinative self if I have to. So I give myself something that I love right before it. And then I reward myself something after it. And I calendar that as one whole event. Does that make sense? So it's almost like I'm incentivizing myself to do this one thing that I don't like. And I know that may sound a little manipulative and tacky, but I find then I have much more energy to do the things I don't like to do, because I know it's short-lived and I've got something following it right up against it that gives me a lot of joy. So if that's helpful to you, try that.
I love that. No, I love that. And I will play around with that. And I actually will watch this again and play around with that. So I'm a power through it guy. And I'm pretty good at that, but I don't find that manipulative at all. Actually, I find that, to me, in my learn, leverage, lead model, I find that to be leverage. So you're just giving yourself some leverage to actually commit the task that has to be done that you may not want to do.
Right.
I personally like to pay other people to do it and give them some business, but there are times when we have chores that we have to do that we just don't want to do. I get it.
Well, everybody has those in their business. Everybody has something in their business or personal life that you have to do, but you don't like to do it, right? So maybe think differently about packaging it with something else that you love to do, and maybe it won't be so hard.
Love it. That is some awesome advice. Thank you for that. What has been your biggest shock or surprise in your discoveries so far in life?
I knew you were going to ask something like that. And everybody right now is like, I'm so glad that's not me, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
No. Biggest shock or discovery. You know, I would definitely say that what I have to offer is needed. That's my biggest shock.
Nice. That's a big one.
And I would say that to everybody that's listening to this or watching this. I think everyone has something to offer the world. Yeah. And so for a long time, I wasn't valued as a human. And so I didn't feel that way. I felt very devalued. I felt like nothing I had to say would move the world or change someone's life. And I think we should all assume that we will change someone's life. And will we change it for the better or for the worse? I think that's the bigger question there. But it starts out with that shock of, wow, I have something of value to offer to the world and something to say. So I definitely think that would be my answer to that.
That's so powerful. So in our circles, we often talk about impact and we talk about significance and these big, powerful words, right? But it doesn't always have to be that. So I'm going to actually call out Melanie right now. I think she's still with us, and I think she'll dig this too, because I often find myself in my circles saying your voice needs to be heard.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you're creating massive impact like Tony Robbins. I mean, he creates some pretty massive impact, or John Maxwell. You don't have to be at that level. I mean, if you want to get to that level, then I encourage you to do so. I mean, that's where I'm headed. People might call me crazy, but I'm headed that way. And I'm going to take every small step I need to in order to get there, because I want to change. Well, thanks to Mark Cole, my goal before was to transform 1 million people's lives. He challenged me, so now it's 2 million people's lives. So I've got my work cut out for me, but I'm moving. I'm taking those steps. And there's no doubt that I'll get there at some point, or you'll find me dead pointed in that direction. I mean, that's just what it's all about. But so you don't have to be making that kind of impact. Not everybody wants to make that kind of impact.
Right.
But even a small thing like what you're doing now, I know you do greater things, but what you're doing right now will impact people's lives. You're dropping value bombs and little gold nuggets and things like that. You're impacting people's lives. You're transforming them. You're planting seeds for them that could potentially change their lives forever. And so I want to go back to what Melanie does, and she's got that podcast that she does, but it's everyday leaders. It's not leaders. She's not interviewing people who are already making billions of people's lives, impacted. She's interviewing everyday leaders. And I love that it sort of ties into what you're saying here. We don't always have to do something big or great or amazing. We just have to be who we are and do what we do. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I think so. And I think when you do that, then you are big and great and amazing. I mean, I think about the person that came to Bill Gates and said, I think we can feed the world. Didn't know how, didn't know if there was a way to do that. And then Bill Gates funded the food bar that can be, the food bar project that is for like less than $1. You could feed someone for a whole day with this food bar. But this person just said my dream, and it was just a side conversation, was I want to be able to feed the world. I just think that we have the technology and the people that we should be able to feed the world. Person didn't know anything about it, just did that. So that's what I'm saying is you never know in one conversation or one moment or one Facebook post how you are changing the world. You just don't know. And so I take that with a lot of humility, and as much as I joke around, words have such power, and words speak into energy that gets done, and dreams get lived and realized and manifested. And I think if we all approached our everyday with that, gosh, think about all we could manage in the world, all we could do in the world. And for me, that's just an incredible place to be. So
my heart is screaming right now. So I won't self-promote, but maybe I will a little bit. So that's my next product. And for those of you that know that, it's Dare to be Brilliant. And that's what it's about. It's how powerful words are and how do you get your message to be clear? Because clarity is my thing. But I love that. Words are everything. Beliefs and words.
So if you haven't already, you can Google what words do to the brain. Okay. And there's whole video footage of words like joy and happy and love. And they have video footage of what happens in the brain versus joy, like anger, disgust, hate. Like when someone says, I hate you, what happens in your brain, you can actually see all those words have the energy that then changes into a form when you hear it in your brain, and it literally changes the neurons in your brain.
Yep.
So we have to decide.
I'm so with you. I've seen the fMRIs and I've done.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Awesome.
And so, but people don't know that. So they don't think about what they're saying and living and doing and being. And I just think that life's too short not to think about, embodying joy in the world. I want people to feel good about themselves and not happy about themselves every day. So
I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it. What milestones or benchmarks are you currently working toward?
Oh, well, I got another book that's going to be coming out and making.
You sound so excited about that.
Well, I mean, it's just a thing.
You're in the work right now.
It's just a thing. I mean, books are just things, they really are. They're just ideas on a page. So working on that, and I've got a group of people that have challenged me. You keep talking about challenges, Brad. They have challenged me to begin to foster retreat-like encounters where people can tap into their creativity. And that doesn't necessarily mean for artists, like artists that are already, doing creative work, but it could be anybody that just is feeling stuck, right? They're the Winnie the Pooh in the tree. And so maybe that's what I need to call it. I don't know. Anyway.
That would be kind of cool.
And so I'm spending a lot of time, a lot of energy on where these would happen. So some would be international destinations and some would be local destinations, local to the US, to allow people to breathe in energy and expend energy in a completely different way and think through levels that they're at and where they would like to be. In maybe creative ways, since that tends to be how I think about the world. So that's really what I'm working on.
That's awesome. Yeah. So Mel said, going back, she said, what we hear and see is what we believe. I love that. And Andrea said, words are so powerful. I mean, everybody just fully engaged in this. This is awesome. What ultimately, not now or like 3 years from now, but ultimately, what is your ultimate, what are you ultimately trying to achieve, Suzanne?
What am I ultimately?
Sorry about it. This is a High Achievers Network, so I don't ask the easy questions,
I know. No, I think this is good. I like it when people struggle on live things because then it's not just all scripted and pre-canned. So what am I ultimately trying to achieve? I'm going to get a little weird here if it hasn't been that already.
Shocker.
And that is, yeah. So I would like to build bigger tables for the world to sit at. So I know that that's a strange kind of heady, weird kind of goal.
Not at all. What's that look like?
So my world would be great if there were different kinds of people, whatever that means in your world. It could be the way they look. It could be their socioeconomic status. It could be their political beliefs. It could be their sexual orientation, whether they're married or not married, or they've got adopted kids or not adopted kids, whatever that looks like. And all those different kinds of people are sitting at dinner together, just sharing life together. And passing the plate to one another. I mean, it's all family style, right? No one's being served. Everybody's in it together. And to me, that's the goal of how we should be living our lives.
I love that.
Who do you have sitting at your table? And how has their story changed you? Not how is my story changing someone else? And so my ultimate aim is at the end of my life to have a really big table wherever it is I'm living at that moment, where all these different kinds of people come together and eat and share life together.
I absolutely love that. And so I have to say, wow, but not only am I saying, wow, you got a whole bunch of people right now saying, wow, literally. So when you go back to the comments, and I know you have an opportunity, you can't see them right now. We have multiple people that just said, wow, love that. Oh, like,
Yeah.
oh, and there's more. Wow, love that. And we love weird. Like,
Yay! We love weird.
so I don't know what kind of feedback you're getting, or what I like to say, feed forward.
Yeah.
But just based on the reaction, my reaction, and the reaction is just from interacting right now, I would say lean into that strongly, Suzanne. That works from you. That's so powerful. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you guys. Because I think we all have, like, again, we are all here for some unique purpose, and mine might be to get everybody's stories together at the end of the world. I don't know, whatever that is. And so, but there better be champagne there, because I don't do anything without bubbles. And there's going to be glitter on the table, because there's not enough sparkle in the world.
Who didn't know that, glitter girl?
Right?
Who didn't know that?
That's right. Who didn't know that, for sure. So I think the first time that I met Brad, we met at an event, and we were standing in line together. And the only reason we met is because, was I in the line first, or did I try to come cut? You were in the line. Probably you were in line and I came and cut. That's very mean.
Yeah, probably, maybe. I don't know.
I tend to be a line jumper. I'm a line jumper. So, because I wanted wine and the line was really long. And so we talked for hours and struck up a friendship. And I'm pretty sure that he went back to his room that night with glitter on him somewhere, because the next day he started talking about that. And
it was up here. It was up here. I had it.
There you go. And I have to share that, because a lot of people in my world, they come in my office, they end up with glitter somehow. And I'm like, there's not even any anywhere. I don't know what, it just happens. That's my thing. It's glitter.
Yeah, you've probably wrecked a lot of marriages, but that's a whole different
It's a whole different call. Thanks, Brad.
Conversation.
That's a different glitter girl. That's a different glitter girl for sure.
Yeah, I always got a kick out of that, though. But so my last question, because we're really coming up on time, and we'll probably go over just a minute or two. But
that's okay.
What has been your greatest breakthrough in life? Your greatest breakthrough? Because I know, like, in the circles that we move, and we're fortunate, and we get to talk to people that are making breakthroughs all the time. What has been your greatest transformation, your greatest breakthrough so far?
Gosh, we've talked about that off and on all this whole call, haven't we?
Yeah.
But I think my greatest breakthrough is being okay with my own self.
Gotcha.
So, when I'm having a bad day, let me go this way. So when I was a ballerina and I taught dance, I mean, all ballerinas starve to death. And so they have to work themselves and other jobs. And so I was teaching dance class at a school of the arts. And I had a Mrs. Potato Head that would sit when they first came in. And I did that, and I would change the face of Mrs. Potato Head based on how I was feeling. And here's why. Because I wanted them to treat me with grace or love or respect, or they knew they could be silly that day because I had the tongue sticking out or whatever. And don't we all want to be treated like that way? Like, wouldn't it be great if we all wore those feeling stickers you get if you've ever gone to therapy? They have the feelings chart or whatever. We all had feeling sticker that we could wear every day, and we would hope that everybody we encounter treats us based on how we're feeling that day, right? You need a little more tenderness today because you're just having a bad day, or you know what, I can do all sorts of barbs at you because I know you're going to come right back at me because that's just the environment you're in today. And I think learning that about myself, that all of those facets of myself was okay, and that all of those things enrich my own life, and then now the life of my adopted daughter and my rescued dog and Charming, my partner, and all these kinds of things in my world, like all of those parts of me are important to them, as is all of the things that they bring and all the things that you guys bring that are on this call. I mean, and so for me, that's the greatest breakthrough that anybody can make, is that all of you is okay. Like, all of you is okay.
I love that. I mean, there's so much. I could go for another hour easily wrapped up just in that statement about authenticity, about just being yourself and growing into yourself. And there's so much there. Thank you. You bring so much to the table. I know that anybody watching this will just gain so much from it, from joy to breakthroughs to achievements. It's awesome. Melanie does have one question, so I don't want to leave a question hanging.
That's great. Let's do it. Yeah.
She said, "What was your greatest lesson watching someone else go through their breakthrough? And I think that's also an important question.
Yeah. So I had the opportunity to see that a lot in the artistic world that I was in. I was in Cats, and I did, all the performance on the stage things. And so you see in those environments, you see people get crushed by what's happening, or you see people flourish. I mean, that's a daily occurrence in that world. And so time and time again, the lesson that I would take from that is just endurance. So to have energy for what is about to happen, so that life is, so at times could be a sprint. That's definitely true. But I think more in terms of it's an endurance test. So, so some days you're crawling around in the mud, and some days you're trying to climb a ladder, and some days you're trying to run and then bike and then swim. And it really is an endurance test. And so for me, watching people choose to endure rather than just give up was the greatest lesson for me by far.
Awesome. Love that. Love that. Yeah. Persistence, grit, endurance, all that stuff. Like I have the opportunity to see that every day too. I love it.
It's great, isn't it? It really is.
It really is. That's life-changing stuff. And not everybody's willing to go there. I mean, quite honestly, there's such a great quote, but I don't have it right in front of me about, basically 1% of the people are actually doing the work. That's really what it comes down to. And
right.
That's, we have the opportunity to see that 1%, the people that actually are doing the work. So we plant those seeds and put it out there that we're willing to work with those that are willing to do the work, but they are so few and far between. So I know the people in here, but we have a major advantage in this particular group, because I'd like to think the people who are here for a reason. So they are part of the 1%.
Right.
And that's amazing. So I would just want to encourage that collaboration. Suzanne, how do people, because I know if I was watching this and I was on posting comments, like I would be like, how do I get in touch with her? So how do people get in touch?
Call me.
Call me. How do people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about?
So my last name is Castle, like a princess, Castle. So
no shocker there.
You can get in touch with me at my website. So
I'm supposed to do this, right? This is right.
Yep. So SuzanneCastle.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. You can just use all of that and find me pretty much anywhere. Or on Pinterest, if you want to come be creative with me on Pinterest and let's do some pinning together. I would absolutely love that. And
I also I'm on there, but I'm not active on there very much. So
that's okay. It's for me, that's the way I have to organize myself. It's just like when you were asking us about our goals or whatever, I'm like, well, I have a vision board. And it's got like pictures and magazine covers and so if you want to.
No, I wanted the words, but I was pretty impressed. You actually came down to the level and put them in words too.
I put words.
I was impressed. That's awesome. Will you please, because I know what people would ask otherwise, I can do it, but I'd rather have you do it in your own special way. Will you please post something in the comments afterwards so that people know how to get it?
Absolutely. And I will give a link to Enneagram in case anyone's interested in that.
Awesome. And do you have a book on the market that they may be interested in? Because you alluded to a couple of books.
I do have a book on the market. I don't know if you'd be interested in it. So I'm the worst salesperson on the planet. So my book was targeted to.
Yeah, somehow I think that's like opposite of what they're telling you in marketing.
I know. I'm the worst. But
is that reverse psychology?
No, it's not. It's not, because hear me out.
Everybody's like, well, how do you know that? Maybe I do. Maybe you might want to put a post on that too.
So it was a niche. It was in a certain niche. So the niche was really religious groups and nonprofits who were looking to have creative teamwork. And most of the examples are from church settings. So it's about kind of creatively inspiring team and getting different kinds of people to work together. So I don't know. So that's why I'm saying that, to say it's not helpful for every situation. If you're looking at a church situation, it's probably pretty helpful. It was the bestseller, but
copy that. But I know some people that are on and in this group. I know almost everybody in here, and I'm telling you, there'll be some people that would be interested.
I will put a link to Brim in the comments as well. How's that?
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
There you go.
Suzanne, I want to thank you so much. Again, I know that we could talk for 2 hours. That's the things. These things are always awesome. But I want to thank you for what you do, for who you are, and for what you bring to the table, because you are an absolute amazing person.
so honored that you would ask me to be a part of this. I tell Brett all that time, I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, are you sure? Are you? But I just want to say thank you, because I am loving getting to know people and seeing them and hearing their stories and their journey. And I just think it's making us a richer group for that. And in fact, I'm having lunch with one of our group members this coming week, who's driving over. And I mean, that's what this is about, right? And I'm so excited. Like I have, if you're watching this right now, I haven't forgotten. It's up to me to figure out the location. I promise. But
that's so Suzanne. I love it.
But I haven't forgotten. But I just think that's what this is. And so thank you everyone for sharing and giving time and giving us so many great ideas to try and just listen to. I mean, it's just wonderful. So thank you for making.
So I'm going to do something wild. If you guys dig this, if you enjoy it, go to your Facebook page and say how awesome the High Achievers Network is. Like, guys, if you're not into the High Achievers Network, because it's time for us to just grow a little bit and take us to the next level. There's so much awesome stuff going on there. Go to your Facebook page and say, guys, if you're not in the High Achievers Network, you're missing out. There's tons of value. However you want to put that across. So, Suzanne, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Maybe we'll have you on again and we'll go even deeper. But I want to thank you. Thank you for who you are.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Live lightly, shine brightly. Peace.